If possible, great. Otherwise, that's all. That's absolutely okay. I'll do it with other PPT. So no problems.
All right. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so that's a little bit of my background till 2017. 2017 is when I started my company. For the last 4 years, we have been in the business. They say that for an entrepreneur to sustain, the first 3 years is important. If a businessman is able to sustain his or her business for the first 3 years, thereafter, it can be a lot more easier for them to sustain. So I've crossed that first 3 years. We are in the fourth year of our journey. So it has been a great experience for me as an entrepreneur. Uh, Before I talk to you more about business, the challenges, what's in it, do I recommend you to go into business? Do I recommend you to get into employment? I would want to ask you, what is that you would want to know from today's session? So I'm going to keep quiet. I'll open it up for all of you. If somebody would want to leave a chat, messages, I don't know if I have access to chats. I would request you to unmute yourself and go ahead and ask any questions that you have. What is that you would want to hear today?
I'm sorry. What was it? I'm sorry.
No, I'm asking questions to the participants. What is that they would want to hear from me today? Now, do they want to just listen to my presentations, or is there any questions that they have? I'm sure they would have a lot of questions in their mind. When I was doing my MBA, I was so unclear. What is that I would want to do? Like I said, I always wanted to start business. So, but I was not sure whether business soon after completing MBA or maybe a little later. And what are the pros? What are the cons? What are the advantages? What should I start? Proprietary firm, private limited firm? So there are a lot of questions that comes in your mind, right? Should I join a startup company as an employee, or should I start as in one of the big firms? A lot of questions that comes in people's mind. So if you have any such question, you can put those points out, and based on that, we can start our conversation.
Nitin, sorry to interrupt you. Yeah, so there are engineering students also, first year engineering students. They have just joined the college. So okay. as an audience for you, and also few MBA students out of it. Maybe right. Like 50% MBA, 60% is your engineering graduates who are there in the session. So they're all first years. It is good that you motivate them through your story, because they are really fresh. They have just completed their PUC and they have joined here. So they have no much ideas about what actually this is all about. So that will be a great if you just interact with them with your story. Yeah.
Absolutely. See, my point is this, the earlier you join, the better for you. The earlier you ask these questions is better for you. The earlier you have clarity of what is that you would want to do, it's better. So most of you are in the first year. So that basically means to say you still have another 3 to 4 years in your education journey. Typically, I'll tell you my story, guys. I was a very, very average student till degree, and MBA is when I really started getting up. I was, to a large extent, very clear of what I wanted to do. Though I wanted to be a business person, but initially I wanted to start with an employment, right? So if you can start getting that clarity starting now, which is in your first year, that after my education, in the next 3 to 4 years, or in the next 2 to 4 years, this is what I would want to do. If you can have that clarity, that will be great. So I'll still pause, I'll give you, the experiences that I've had in my life, the experiences that I've seen in some of the people who have been around me. I can share those experiences. But let me pause for 30 seconds to check with you if you have any questions at all, or if you have a particular thing that you would want me to speak about. So I'm going to pause for 30 seconds and see if there's anybody who has any questions.
Nitin, meanwhile, you can also check that you are a presenter now. They have changed the settings for you to present.
Yes. Yeah.
I request the students to please put your questions, if any, in the chat box, so that he can also, the resource person can also view from his end, and he can reply you back on those. Yeah. Or you can also interact with him by unmuting yourself. Yeah. Unmute yourself and post the questions. He will directly speak to you all.
All right. So I'm continuing now. Guys. One thing that I like is participative audience. Otherwise, I feel like I'm speaking to the laptop, and it's a very funny thing. So any question? See, there's nothing called as a right question, wrong question, but all of us will have questions, right? So any question is absolutely welcome. Do not shy away. And being in the first year, I'll just go back to my experience. I told this in the past. But I would like to repeat this once again. I was a very shy, very not so confident person during my degree. But when I came into my MBA, that I made up a mind that irrespective of what others think, I'll be myself. If there's a doubt, I'm going to ask. If there's an opportunity, I will participate. Now, that is the only thing that can make you different from the rest of them, right? So otherwise, what happens is you will always stay in your shell. If you don't open up, you will never open up. And when you're opening up right now, it is amongst your people. So if you want to make any changes in your life, it is now. There's a beautiful saying, guys. If you keep on doing what you have always been doing, you will keep getting what you've always got. Right? If I keep doing something that I've always done, my result will still be the same, right? There will be no results. So if you would want to see any change, drastic change in yourself, then that means to say you need to start looking at improving yourself, right? One thing that people keep talking about is enhancing one's own ability, one's own competency. You must have heard this, right? Do not compete yourself with somebody else. Always try and compete with yourself. How am I today? Am I better than yesterday? Right? So please open up. Try to be a better person than yesterday. Try to be an improved version. So let's make it a very, very engaging, interaction. You can pause me at any point of time. Yeah, thank you. Yes.
So after knowing our starting point or our path, it is quite normal to going in that path. But finding out what is the starting path or starting point we need to start, it's a very difficult one. Then how do you start your path? How do you choose your business, or how do you start with your entrepreneur? I want to know about that, sir. How do you choose that?
Gagan, yeah. Firstly, thank you so much for opening up. Thank you so much for starting this, question. And it's a very relevant question that you're asking. In fact, that's something that I'll tell you here. See, this is my experience. Each one's experience is different, right? I can share my learnings, my experience. First and foremost, identify what kind of an individual are you? Are you somebody who is, I respect some people want that month-end salary to keep coming because there is a lot of commitment. If that's so, it is important for you to meet those commitments, and it is important for you to stay in a stable income. Absolutely okay with that. There are some people who say that, okay, for the first 5 years, 10 years, I'm going to, earn the money that is required, and then I'll start my company. The moment you decide, irrespective if you're going to start a company or if you're going to work in a different organization, it's important for you to identify two things. One, what are you passionate about? What is that absolutely one thing that if somebody doesn't give you money also, you would go ahead and do it? For me, probably when I was in my graduation, it was dance. I was a part of the college dance team. And I always wanted to pursue dance, but I did not have that conviction. I did not have that clarity that I would want to get into the dance field. Unfortunately, because of which I did something else. So it's absolutely important for you to, identify what are you passionate about? What is that you have been gifted? Now, they say that, God has made everybody differently. Each one of us are gifted differently. I could be good in one thing. You could be absolutely good in another thing, right? To identify what is your passion. And secondly, are you absolutely competent in doing so? Say, for example, you have IT hardware. After some time, think through if there's any questions. So I would want to cover one other things, right? I was talking about financial education. Now, financial literacy is for everybody. You are in IT, you are in MBA, You are a BCom graduate, you're uneducated. Look, I see somebody wearing a nice pendant. I would want to buy a better pendant. That person is wearing something else. I would want to wear something else. And that is human. For all of us, we would want to be better than somebody who is around, right? So what we do, we end up spending the money that we earn. If we do that, our immediate satisfactions will be met, but our future may not really look, very bright. The moment we start controlling ourselves, of course, today's happiness is also very important. Do not really say that I'm earning 15,000, I'm going to save entire 15,000. I've seen some friends of mine who are absolutely miser. Yeah, so I've seen conjuice friends, right, who say I don't want to spend a single money, and they would want to invest for the future, and who knows what's going to happen tomorrow, right? So I don't know whether we'll be living for a very long time, where what our destiny has for us. I see 120 participants. Anybody can ask me any question, and any questions around financial freedom at all. Like I said, I don't like to talk to the laptop, looking into the camera and speaking. It would be nice if you can ask some questions and make it interactive. I'll wait for 15 seconds if you have any questions. Okay. I'm guessing not, right? I'm guessing not. I'm guessing that there are no questions that you have. One other thing that I would want to explain to you before talking about what are the qualities that one needs to have. I just want to show you something. Look at this. This is absolutely interesting. Sorry, Prakriti, you have a question? Prakriti, you have a question?
Prakriti, kindly mute yourself.
Okay, I think that's by mistake. Okay. One very interesting thing is that 1 lakh is your salary. Income is not 1,08,000 rupees. It's on these few elements, guys. You are in your first year. Most of you are in your first year, right? I keep asking to interview you. A lot. I'll take a 30-second class, but a professional. Tell something people should now. Assign it upon.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Rohit, for this opportunity, and